Here we go. Welcome into the show. You're watching Philadelphia Eagles now. My name is Chase Sr., and we have another loaded show coming your way. The Eagles getting a gift from the Dallas Cowboys because Jerry Jones is senile. I also have a couple of other topics that I want to touch on. Nick Sirianni's approach as the head coach going into 2025. He is really trying to avoid a Super Bowl hangover, and the Birds expected to sign a defensive tackle heading into training camp. We'll get to that as well. But isn't this a glorious sight? It's a beautiful day in South Philadelphia. The Eagles are reporting to training camp today. The first team practice tomorrow on Wednesday, July 23rd. And here's a look at the Super Bowl MVP, Super Bowl champion quarterback Jalen Hurts reporting to training camp. Decked out in Jordan gear, no surprise, he is a Jordan athlete. Recently, he was with the GOAT MJ in Greece. Like the fit that he has going on, and he is ready for another season of Eagles football. My question for you, are you ready for another Eagles season? I am, if you're pumped up for the return of the Birds. Let's go. I want you to hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. Training camp is here. Preseason a couple of weeks away, and the regular season is going to be here before we know it as Philadelphia looks to defend their second Lombardi trophy. Let's begin with a roster move here for Howie Roseman and company as the Eagles are expected to sign a defensive tackle. Mike Mitchell breaking the news on this Tuesday morning. Per league sources, the Philadelphia Eagles are expected to sign defensive tackle Jacob Sykes today. That would make him the 15th UFL player signed by an NFL team. As NFL teams start training camp league-wide, multiple players from the UFL have received workouts in recent days. Sykes started 9 games for the San Antonio Brahmas, totaling 19 tackles and 2 sacks. More on Sykes. He's 6'3", 277 pounds. He can play both defensive tackle and defensive end. At that size, a little bit too heavy to play defensive end, a little bit too light to play defensive tackle. So he has some versatility to his game. The issue with him, little bit of a tweener. You know what's not an issue for him? His brain. Went to Harvard, Ivy League guy, attended Harvard from 2018 to 2021. Then he transferred to UCLA in 2022. Played under Chip Kelly there in Southern California. Was not drafted, but then signed with the Seattle Seahawks. Was with Seattle throughout training camp in 2023 and the last 2 years playing in the UFL. The Eagles worked out a couple of defensive tackles yesterday on Monday to begin the week. They clearly think they have a little bit of a depth need there. Those DTs, Joe Evans, Leonard Payne, and Jacob Sykes. Clearly, Sykes was the one who impressed this Eagles coaching staff and the front office. And speaking of Sykes, might be a tweener, pretty good athlete though. Relative athletic score, 906 coming out of college UCLA heading into the 2023 draft. And you can see where he gets docked because he's a little bit smaller. Then he measured in at 6'2", weighed in at 282 pounds, 27 reps on the bench press, just okay. But he was great according to MathBomb. Vertical leap of 32, broad jump more than 9 feet, 40-yard dash, 4.94, so he can really move. Good 20-yard split, excellent 10-yard split, and then he really thrived with the shuttle and the 3-cone. So the Eagles adding a pretty good athlete along that defensive line as part of this 90-man roster. I doubt he's going to make the 53. Topic number 2, Nick Sirianni is approaching the 2025 season much different than 2023. Why do I mention those 2 years? Well, the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2024, made it to the Super Bowl in 2022, and you gotta love how Sirianni and this entire Eagles team and organization is learning from their past experiences. I saw this tweet from Zach Berman of PHLY. I found it to be very interesting, and we'll run through a couple of tweets here from Berman. The Eagles report the training camp today. Don't expect Nick Sirianni to discuss defending the Super Bowl championship. He spent time this offseason speaking to coaches of winning teams. The goal has been to determine how to sustain success. I've talked about how the Eagles can go on this dynastic run. That is about sustaining success. Here's a quote from Sirianni. of all the people I talked to, and it was a lot, similar themes kept coming back on sustained success. And the themes were really, there's a lot of different things. But if I really broke down everything, it was thinking about the past too much. And resting on your laurels was one big mistake, and looking too far ahead. Both are very dangerous. Being where you are each and every time, because if you're going to do anything special again, it's going to be the work that you put in. It's going to take the work that you need to do day in and day out to get there. Nothing you did in the past is going to help you. Thinking about the future isn't going to help you either. It's about being right here. And there's that saying, be present. I'm certainly a believer in that. Nick Sirianni trying to be present. 2025, much different than 2024. Circumstances, expectations, roster, coaching staff. And I think it's of note that this comes from Zach Berman. He is extremely plugged in to the Eagles organization. He's been covering this organization for decades. He's written 3 books on Philadelphia. The Franchise, with a foreword from Eagles great Malcolm Jenkins. That was a curated history of the Eagles franchise. And then after the Eagles won their first Super Bowl, he came out with this book, Underdogs, with the foreword from legendary play-by-play announcer on WIP, Merrill Reese. And then in September, Berman is coming out with a 3rd book, Leap Year, the Philadelphia Eagles' ascent to being Super Bowl champions. Great cover there, fitting, obviously, leap year with Saquon Barkley, the backwards hurdle, a la the backwards leap. More from Berman here. It's been interesting to observe how Nick Sirianni navigated the post-Super Bowl months. His profile has never been bigger. He went to the ESPYs and made a few speaking appearances, but there was no advertising tour, no book deal, not much capitalizing on his name with outside work. This was by design. Of note, after the Eagles won the Super Bowl in 2017, Doug Peterson wrote a book, and maybe that caused some offseason distractions or for him to not really be all in on the following year. Then what happened? Eagles came out of the gates very slow and sluggish in 2018. They needed to go 4-0 in their last 4 regular season games just to make the playoffs pretty much. Nick Sirianni on his offseason, and why this was by design. With winning, there comes opportunities for all those different things, and everybody's different. Everybody has different responsibilities. Obviously, I wanted to focus solely on the team. Now, I've had some speaking engagements here and there, but I wanted to really, how do I get better? That's what my focus was. If I want my players to think constantly about growth, then I better be thinking about it too. If I want our players to be constantly thinking, connect, I better be doing that. If I want our players to be mentally tough, I better be mentally tough. If I want our players to be detailed, I better be detailed. I'd be crazy if I didn't get out there in front of the team and reinstall all of our situational football and try to do it better, or reinstall culture, right? It's not like, hey, it's tough, detailed together. See you later, guys. It's starting back at stage 1. How do I teach this better? How do I get better at this? And that's where my obsession is, in those things and getting better at teaching the culture, teaching situations, teaching football, all those different things. Ladies and gentlemen, this is why I have said time and time again, ad nauseum at this point, being a head coach isn't just about play calling. It's about nuances and specifics like this. And this is where Nick Sirianni is really separated from a lot of other head coaches in the NFL. Kyle Shanahan would never have that type of mentality because he doesn't think like that. Nick Sirianni does, and it's very important. And he has led this offseason mindset, the mindset that I have loved from the Eagles this offseason. They won the Super Bowl, one of the most dominant Super Bowl performances in the history of football. They crushed Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. They ended the Chiefs' quest of a three-peat. They had an incredible parade. Myself and Chip, we were there alongside 2 million other people. It was a magical day, a fantastic game. But that was last year. It's all about 2025. This Eagles team is hungry, and they are ready to try to go on this dynastic run. Something that A.J. Brown said on Friday when the Eagles received their Super Bowl rings, maybe the best rings of all time. I did a YouTube short on that. It's got about 100,000 views. He said, I know it's going to be hard, but we got to do this again. That's what AJ said in looking at his Super Bowl ring. When you press a button, wings extend off of the ring. It's an incredible design. And AJ Brown was in awe of that Super Bowl ring and just the feeling of celebrating that championship. And he's motivated to get back there and to do it again. So too are his other teammates. Great photo here, by the way, with AJ, Devontae Smith, and Saquon Barkley. But that mentality, that mindset, that's what you need if you want to be special, if you want to be great, if you want to go on a dynastic run, if you want to be legendary. And the Eagles going into 2025 have that. From 2022 to 2023, they lost that game, but I was very concerned about a Super Bowl hangover. That Super Bowl hangover ensued. It happened, and that's why 2023 was a really ugly year. So much more to get to, including that conversation about the Dallas Cowboys. You don't want to miss that. We have audio from Jerry Jones that will just make you say, wow, what is going on? How about them Cowboys? But first, be sure to hit that subscribe button for the best Eagles coverage right here on YouTube. I'm hitting you with daily long-form shows. We're doing YouTube shorts. We're about to ramp up our live programs. We'll be doing watch parties for every single Eagles game, preseason, regular season, and anytime I'm talking birds, I want our coverage to be insightful, informative, entertaining, thought-provoking. I want you to have a voice. If all that sounds great, join the movement, lock us in. So coming up just around the corner, Jerry Jones on the opening day of Cowboys training camp taking shots at Micah Parsons, who he called Michael, and his quarterback Dak Prescott, who last offseason he made the highest paid quarterback in the history of the National Football League. That is coming up just around the corner. Stay tuned for that. But first, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor of today's show, and it is our friends at Brunt. I know that a lot of you see me on camera and you say, Chase, you probably wear makeup. You're a pretty boy. You talk football for a living. I'm not a pretty boy, and I don't wear makeup. I'm no longer on television. I'm on YouTube. It's a little bit more relaxed. But when I'm not on camera talking about the Eagles, I love woodworking. It's one of my great hobbies. And so when I'm doing some woodworking, I'm on my feet all the time. You know what's the worst? When you have uncomfortable work boots. With Brunt, that is no longer the case. And you can get $10 off at bruntworkwear.com/chat. Be sure to use that code chat so that deal applies. These are comfortable, durable work boots that look good, feel good, and they will last forever. There is nothing worse than having a hard work day and being uncomfortable on your feet. These best-selling Marin work boots, not only built for the toughest job sites, they're completely waterproof. Whether it's rain, mud, or standing water, your feet stay dry. From oily workshop floors to muddy farm fields and everywhere in between, the Marin 6-inch soft toe is built for workers across a variety of trades. Brunt isn't just about work boots. They offer a full range of high-performance gear built for the toughest jobs. From heavy-duty work pants to weather-resistant jackets, Brunt designs durable, reliable workwear to keep you protected and productive in any condition. Brunt knows they have the best boots on the planet. They'll let you try any of their products on the job. Founder Eric Gerard grew up blue collar. He started Brunt Workwear after his friends in the trades kept telling him that the big brands had stopped listening and hadn't changed in 100 years. So Eric, he takes pride in making these products the best. Brunt was tired of all the workwear brands cutting corners. We work too hard to be stuck in uncomfortable boots that don't hold up. So Brunt built something better. Boots that are insanely comfortable and built for any job site. For limited time, our listeners, our viewers, get $10 off at Brunt when you use the code CHAT at checkout. Just head to bruntworkwear.com/chat. Use that code CHAT, and you're good to go. After you make your order, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Be sure to say, Eagles Now, Chase Sr., and Chat Sports sent you. So the Dallas Cowboys reported the training camp on Monday. Their first team practice is on Tuesday, today, in Oxnard, California. If you were watching First Take a little bit earlier, no, they didn't practice yesterday. First Take got. There was a clip that went viral on social media yesterday. Dak Prescott, opening day at training camp, hits George Pickens on a long ball. It was a comedic tweet. It was Brandon Cooks on the receiving end. But then First Take ran that video saying, look, Dak hitting the new edition, George Pickens, Cowboys offense off to a very good start. ESPN is so cooked. And that's why we have such an empire here at Chat Sports, and that's why you're subscribed to us here on Philadelphia Eagles. Now, we are about 24 hours in of the Cowboys beginning training camp, right? And here's everything that has happened so far. Jerry Jones, his son Stephen Jones, who's the co-owner of the Cowboys, and new head coach Brian Schottenheimer had a press conference yesterday. Jerry Jones took a shot at his quarterback in Dak Prescott. Jerry Jones took a shot at Micah Parsons, who's looking for a new contract. Stephen Jones said that Jerry, as the GM, doesn't speak with agents across the NFL. You think Howie Roseman would ever conduct business like that? No chance. Which GM doesn't talk to agents about getting contracts done when you're the one who's paying them? The drama and the fireworks already underway. How about them Cowboys? You got to love it. Always so many distractions with America's team. And that's a big reason why the Cowboys can't have sustained success, because there's always something going on extracurricular that takes the focus away from football. You don't believe me? Here's what Jerry Jones said yesterday during his first press conference of training camp for the Cowboys.
Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. Seriously. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott. So there's a lot of things you can think about when you, just as the player does, when you're thinking about committing and guaranteeing money.
So he throws a little bit of a jab at his franchise quarterback. Then he hits Micah Parsons with a little bit of an uppercut. And by the way, he said that Micah Parsons, who at times he called Michael yesterday, missed 6 games last year. I did a fact check. He only missed 4 games. Micah Parsons has barely missed any time throughout his entire career. And so that clip of Jerry and many other clips from Jerry went viral. And J.J. Watt quote tweeted that clip that we just played for you audio-wise and said this: anytime you can publicly take a dig at your star quarterback and your star pass rusher simultaneously right before the season begins, you just got to take it. Nothing makes guys want to fight for you more than hearing how upset you are that they got hurt while fighting for you. You see that red circle that I put on there? Micah Parsons retweeted that from J.J. Watt. Clearly, Micah Parsons is not happy with what Jerry had to say, and he has every right to be unhappy. Would Jeffrey Lurie ever do and say this? There's no chance. After every single Cowboys game, Jerry is in the tunnel with like dozens and dozens, sometimes seemingly 100 media members around him. He makes himself the center of attention. He ain't the one who's playing. Jeffrey Lurie is barely available for public comment during the entire season. Howie Roseman, would he ever let it get to this point with the contract situation like Micah Parsons, who was contract extension eligible last offseason? The Cowboys could have paid him last year going into 2024. But by waiting, they have cost themselves millions and millions and millions of dollars. Why is that? Because multiple pass rushers have gotten paid this offseason alone. Max Crosby, Danielle Hunter, Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, they all reset the market. This is a part of the reason why Howie always signs his players to extensions early as compared to later. Next offseason, Jalen Carter is going to be extension eligible. So too is Nolan Smith. You know what Howie's going to do? If they play well and stay healthy here in 2025, pay those players early. Because if you wait, you can literally cost yourselves $5 to $10 million in average annual value per year. And I honestly wonder this: would Jerry Jones rather win another ring, as the Cowboys are on this 3-decade-long drought of not even making it to an NFC Championship game, or not do press conferences any longer? If you gave Jerry a choice, would you rather win a Super Bowl or no longer do a press conference, I think that he would need to be in the public eye. Jerry also really said, you never know. One of the reasons why we don't sign some of these players sometimes, it's the unknown. A player could sign but then get hit by a car. Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie would never utter those types of crazy words. It's a little bit sad to see Jerry get so old where he's become the modern Al Davis. He's uttering things that Joe Biden was uttering as well when you clearly realized he didn't have it all there mentally. Jerry also said this about Trayvon Diggs. We expect a player paid like Trayvon to be here all the time. You've got to have some leadership about you. How about reading the room? How about building a culture under your brand new head coach? Cowboys, they don't know anything about that. But hey, as an Eagles fan and as your fearless leader of this Eagles fan base, Jerry, you're doing great. We need you to keep going. Keep saying things like this. Keep saying some wacky and wonky things. Keep the Cowboys dysfunctional. Signed, all Philadelphia Eagles fans, including yours truly, Chase Sr. If you love laughing at the Cowboys, type F Dallas down in the comments section. Hit that thumbs up icon and like the video. And as always, Dallas sucks. Go Birds.